Hello students and welcome to biology class. The topic of our discussion is basic ecological concepts. Basic ecological concepts. And my name is Ademola Prosper. Before we delve into the topic mainly, let's look at the learning objectives. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to 1. Define the meaning of ecology. 2. State the terms associated with ecology. 3. Explain the two components of an ecosystem with examples. Now let's look at the meaning of ecology. What is ecology? Ecology is the study of plants and animals as well as microorganisms in relation to their environment. As you can see in the picture, you can see plants, you can see animals, and also the study of microorganisms. These components or the study of all these components, they are able to interact and adapt in their environment. That is ecology. Now let's look at the branches of ecology. Depending on whether the organisms are studied alone or in groups, ecology is divided into two. The first is horticology. And what is horticology? Horticology is the study of an individual organism or a single species of organism and its environment, e.g., the study of a student and a school environment. When we are talking about an horticulture, we are talking about a particular environment in which that organism evolve or exist. We are looking at the study of a student and his environment. Looking at the student and, and the school environment, we discover that they are of the same phase, they are of the same environment. A student studying in a school environment is an example of horticulture. The second is synecology. Synecology is the study of the interrelationship between group of organisms or different species of organisms living together in an area. An example is the study of fish, crabs, seaweeds, etc. in the ponds. Now, when you are talking about syncology, we are talking about different species existing in a particular habitat. Example is the ponds. When you look at the pond, there are different organisms that exist in the pond. We have fishes, we have crabs, we have animals and all that. They all belong to the pond. So it's an example of synecology. Now let's look at some ecological terms. One of the ecological terms is the environment. What's an environment? An environment includes the external and the internal factor, living or non-living, which affects an organism or a group of organisms. When you are talking about an environment is made up of living and non-living organisms or living and non-living things. We also look at the external and internal factors, and all these affect an organism in the environment. That will take us to the biosphere. The biosphere is also known as the ecosphere. It is the zone of the earth occupied by living things. A zone of the earth occupied by living things so as to carry out their biochemical activities. When we look at this zone of the earth, it is a zone that all living components exist. The biosphere or the ecosphere consists of three major portions. And what are those portions? We have lithosphere, the atmosphere, and the hydrosphere. Now, let's look at the meaning of lithosphere. When we talk about the lithosphere, it is the zone of the earth occupied by land. the zone of the earth occupied by land. And this land is made up of rocks and minerals. It's made up of rocks and minerals. This form 30% of the Earth's surface, and it is the basis of human settlement. As you can see, when you talk about the lithosphere, it is zone of the earth occupied by land, and different organisms exist on land. You can have the dog, the fish, and all that. They all belong to lithosphere. Any organism that can live on land. That will take us to the hydrosphere. From the word hydro means water. It is a liquid portion of the earth, or the zone of the earth occupied by aquatic lives. The zone of the earth occupied by aquatic lives. And what are those organisms that can live in water? We have the fishes, the sea animals, we have crabs and other. And the water covers about 70% of the earth crust. It consists of water in various forms, either solid, liquid, or gas. That will now take us to the atmosphere. The atmosphere is the gaseous portion of the earth, which consists of three main gases. We have the nitrogen, the oxygen, and the carbon dioxide. And all these have their percentage compositions, with nitrogen 78%, oxygen 21%, and carbon dioxide 0.03%. Water vapor or rare gases cannot be left out, with a percentage composition of 0.077%. That will now take us to habitats. An habitat is a place where organism lives naturally. An habitat is a place where organism lives naturally. For example, let's take the pond, for example. In the pond, we have fishes, we have crabs, we have other animals that live in water. It's an habitat. A place where organisms live naturally is called an habitat. Habitat can be divided into three major parts, which have the arboreal habitat, the terrestrial, and the aquatic habitats. Now let's look at it one after the other. Talking about the aquatic habitat, the aquatic habitat is where plants and animals as well as microorganisms lives in water. E.g., we have the sea, the ocean, the lagoon, the streams. Every animals or plants, some plants or animals lives in water. There are some plants that lives in water. There are some animals that is found in water. We have the terrestrial habitats. The terrestrial habitats. This is where the organism lives on land. Example of organism that can live on land, we have the dog, we have the goat, etc. Example of the land, we have forest, grasslands, deserts, etc. The arboreal habitat. When you hear of arboreal, it's talking about organism that lives mainly on trees. These include tree trunks and tree tops, where some organisms, usually animals, are naturally found. Monkeys are found on trees. Bears are also found on trees, and also other animals like snakes. There are some snakes that are found on trees. They are the major habitats of these organisms. I will be leaving you some assignments which you are going to further on and learn. Then be prepared for the next class. 1. Define ecology. 2. Explain 5 terms associated with ecology. And 3. Explain 2 components of an ecosystem with 3 examples each. Learn and prepare for the next class. Thank you.